everybody, it's Jamie from Old Shipping Lines and welcome back to a new video. Now, in the video of today, we shall talk about the tragic sinking of the steam oil tanker, the SS Montebello. Let's begin. Now, if we talk about the specifics of the vessel, she was owned by the Union Oil Company, and the vessel would be built by the shipbuilders Southern Shipbuilding Co. Now, the gross tonnage of this vessel would be 8,272 gross registered tons, with her length being 440.4 feet. She had a beam of 58.2 feet. The vessel could reach a speed of 11 knots. Now, the ship was constructed using the Isherwood principle, which strengthens the vessel's body with longitudinal framing. It followed a shelter deck design, featuring two main decks. The cargo area was divided into 18 main tanks and 10 summer tanks, enabling the transportation of up to 49,000 barrels of oil. To facilitate efficient unloading, the ship had a midship cargo pump room with specifically designed pumps, capable of emptying the entire cargo in approximately 20 hours. Additionally, she was equipped with 8 throttle reversing steam winches for quick loading and unloading on the shelter deck. She was also equipped with wireless apparatus, a submarine signal system, and electrical lights installed throughout the decks and crew cabins. Now, the vessel would be launched on the 24th of January 1921. Now, after being delivered and commissioned, the Montebello departed from Los Angeles and headed towards Port St. Louis, which is the primary location for storing and shipping oil for the Union Oil Company. The tanker arrived at Port St. Louis on March the 10th, 1921. Following the loading of 81,000 barrels of oil, the Montebello set sail for San Francisco and arrived at her destination on March the 12th, completing her first voyage successfully. And she would live her life as an oil tanker with no particular incidents, until the 5th of October 1930, while the tanker was being repaired at the Los Angeles Shipbuilding Corps. An individual entered the ship and shot the third mate. This person then proceeded to steal nearly $3,000 in cash from the captain's cabin and crew lockers. Despite the incident, no other witnesses saw the bandit. The police detained a former Union Oil engine room employee in relation to this robbery, but he was later released due to insufficient evidence. Now we move on to her sinking. The Montebello was scheduled to leave Port St. Louis before midnight on December the 21st, 1941. However, due to the crew's request for increased war risk insurance payments, the departure was delayed. A replacement crew was brought in from Los Angeles, and they arrived late in the evening on December the 22nd. It was then discovered that the ship's acting master had fallen ill and needed to be replaced. Now, after finding a new master, completing the necessary paperwork and making final preparations, the Montebello finally departed from Port St. Louis around 2 a.m. on December the 23rd. The captain in command was Olaf Walfrid Ekstrom, and there were 38 crew members on board. The tanker carried a cargo of 75,346 barrels of crude oil destined for Vancouver. The weather was overcast with drizzle, but visibility was good. Around 5:30 a.m., approximately 4 miles west of Cambria, the captain spotted what appeared to be a submarine on the starboard side of the vessel, about half a mile away. In fact, a crew member called Sres would say to the captain that
"We're being stalked by what looks like a sub. I saw a dark outline on the water, close astern of us."
The submarine, later identified as I-21, was clearly visible in the dark. Its conning tower and deck gun were easily distinguishable. Upon sighting the submarine, the captain immediately commanded the ship to increase speed and follow a zigzag course. The Navy was promptly informed about the submarine sighting. Roughly 10 minutes later, I-21 fired 2 torpedoes at the tanker. One of the torpedoes was found to be defective, but the second one hit Montebello near the number 2 hold. Luckily, the hold where the torpedo struck was empty and free of oil. However, the resulting explosion caused significant damage, blowing away the deckhouse and radio room, and knocking down the forward mast. An order to abandon ship was issued, and 4 lifeboats were subsequently launched. Now, during the evacuation, crew member Sres would say,
"The skipper was as cool as a snowdrift. He yelled an order to stand by the lifeboats and then an order to abandon ship. And there was something in the way he gave those orders that made us proud to be serving under him."
Now, the following testimony comes from Captain Ekstrom himself. He would say that as the lifeboats lowered,
"The sub began shelling us. There was from 8 to 10 flashes. One hit the foremast, snapping it. Another whistled by my head so close I could have reached out and touched it. But there was no panic, no hysteria. We got all 4 lifeboats into the water. Splinters from one of the shells struck some of the boats, but by some kind of miracle none of us was wounded."
Seeing that the ship did not sink, the submarine proceeded to fire 8 or 9 shots at the hull of the stricken tanker. One of the shots struck the bow, causing it to detach and accelerate the sinking process. The ship began sinking quickly around 6:30 a.m. and ultimately disappeared beneath the surface by 6:45 a.m. Now the following testimony comes once again from crew member Sres. The boat carrying Ekstrom, Sres and 4 other crewmen was hit. He would say,
Machine gun bullets hit our boat, and she began leaking like a sieve. We began rowing shoreward, with some of us leaning on the oars for all we were worth and the others bailing.
3 of the lifeboats containing 33 survivors were picked up by dispatched tugboats and landed in Cayucos. 1 lifeboat with the master in it reached the shore near San Simeon, where it was wrecked.
Machine gun bullets hit our boat, and she began leaking like a sieve. We began rowing shoreward, with some of us leaning on the oars for all we were worth and the others bailing. We were caught in the surf, and the lifeboat capsized. Some of the boys were scratched up, and the captain nearly drowned.
At the end, everyone was saved by the watchers on the shore. Now we are gonna jump ahead in time. On November the 7th, 1996, an expedition took place, using the submersible Delta. 2 men went down to the wreck, which was located at a depth of 880 feet. They discovered that the Montebello was sitting upright on the ocean floor. It was determined from their observations that the Montebello had been hit by a single torpedo just in front of the pump room. Although the bow was damaged from hitting the sea floor, the wreck was considered to be in relatively good condition, raising concerns about the possibility of it still containing its liquid cargo. In August 2010, a wreck examination was conducted by a robot submarine from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute. The purpose was to assess the presence of the oil cargo and potential environmental risks. The expedition utilized sonar to generate 3-dimensional images of the ship, which would later be analyzed on shore. There were concerns about the deterioration of the wreck over the past 14 years and could represent a risk if the cargo leaked. Additional investigations of the sunken ship were planned for 2011, with an estimated price tag of $2.3 million. This funding would come from a pool of money contributed by oil companies specifically for addressing these types of incidents. Following a thorough 2-week examination in October 2011, experts concluded that there was no remaining crude oil in the tanker. It is believed that any oil that was initially released from the vessel likely dispersed throughout the surrounding area soon after she sank. And that is the end to a video. Thank you all so very much for watching. I appreciate the support. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. That would help out the channel a lot. And don't forget to click on the video suggested here in the outro, as I'm sure you will enjoy that one as well. Now, if you have any comments or thoughts on this video, please leave them in the comment section down below. As well, what ships you would like me to cover next. Now, with that out of the way, guys, I wish you all a good night or day wherever you are, and we will see each other on the next video. Goodbye, my friends.